Boxing Day sale, Black Friday, buy one get one free. Us Brits don't half love a bargain. Which for many years that notion has been hard to come by when it comes to your set of wheels. But that was until these guys stormed their way into the UK car market and have almost rewrote the rules in our car buying journey. Because now with their second iteration, the JAECOO 5, it builds on from the groundbreaking and award-winning JAECOO 7, which came in at quite frankly an unreasonably cheap price. Now the 5 might not be as big, might not be as glamorous, but it's cheaper and you still think you've got a right good deal on your hands. First impressions then of the JAECOO 5, and it's a bit like they've gone to Land Rover and gone, can we copy your homework? They've turned around and gone, yeah, but just change it ever so slightly, because it kind of just looks like a new named cheaper Evoque. However, it doesn't feel cheap, and that's its most outstanding feat. You get a signature JAECOO grille, bold LED lights at the front, not much going down the front bumper, but overall it still looks premium, but doesn't come with a premium price tag. Because the 5 really is following in the footsteps of the 7 by providing a very, very value for money SUV. Because they have 2 spec levels which are practically identical, meaning you get a 13.2-inch infotainment screen with wireless phone connectivity, as well as a 540-degree around view monitor. Yes, you heard that right, 540-degree around view monitor. Who thought you couldn't get more than 360? JAECOO 5 provides that. So with that ridiculously sized and practical camera, if you crash while parking, that's more on you. And that excelled sense of safety is certainly felt out on the road, because you're going to get adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, blind spot detection, hill descent control, hill start assist, emergency braking, all coming from its base spec. And here's where things get even better for this little beauty, because the JAECOO 5 starts at just £24,500 for the pure spec in its petrol variant. The top spec only jumps up to £28,000. Now there is an equivalent electric JAECOO 5 starting at just over £27,000, going up to £30,000 for its top spec. That is incredible value for money for this day and age, and don't forget, across all them trim levels you're getting a suite full of driving aids, all that style and comfort that you'd expect from an SUV costing £10,000 more. And the best things about all them spec levels is they are pretty much identical, the only difference being more premium features like heated seats and heated steering wheel, panoramic sunroof. Even the 2 electric variants utilise the same EV powertrain, meaning you get 250 miles of electric range and a recharge time between 30 and 80% in just 26 minutes. So across the board you're getting a sense of value for money almost unheard of, especially in this day and age, especially in the automotive world. JAECOO really just doing things right. Step inside and this is where the JAECOO 5 really seems to boast and throw its weight about in the UK car market, because even though this is the entry spec being £24,500, looking at it, comparing to its market rivals, not necessarily in terms of its price point, but its direct competitors, this just seems so much more value for money than the likes of a Hyundai Kona, a Kia Sportage. And yes, I will like to add, if I'm being truthfully honest, it doesn't feel as premium as the JAECOO 7. That kind of feels like an affordable luxury level. This certainly don't feel that. You can kind of see where they've cut corners in terms of that price point, but I certainly don't feel shortchanged. I don't feel like this is a cheap interior at all, because you get a 13.2-inch infotainment screen from that base spec, wireless phone charging, wireless phone connectivity, 540-degree around view monitor. If you go up to the luxury spec, which is actually only £28,000, so still incredible value for money, you're going to get powered tailgate, panoramic sunroof, ambient lighting and a premium sound system. You'll get a digital dash which is nicely tucked away and actually integrated into the dashboard. It's not like a separate module, albeit it's small and quite snug, but I think it perfectly links into that dashboard well. They could have easily stretched this out, but it might have looked a bit clumpy. I feel like they've really gone for aesthetics when it comes to that digital dash, but it still does everything that it needs to. It shows all the information. So that's not necessarily an issue by any stretch of the means, albeit small. You get plenty of storage in this centre console, deep pockets underneath, phone pad there, 2 slots here, cup holders, deep pocket in your centre console. You certainly won't run out of space to store things. And with 480 litres of boot capacity, the JAECOO 5 might be the smaller sibling to the 7, but it still offers just as much practicality. One thing I certainly do like is the drive mode selector. You can change it in the infotainment screen, but there is a separate button down here. And it comes up with a nice animation. And you certainly won't forget what driving mode you're in, because it kind of likes to shout at you.
Normal mode.
Normal mode. And I just like that graphic. Again, just really shows off the premium nature that JAECOO are trying to give for not a premium price tag. As for actual performance, and across them two variations, the petrol and electric version of the JAECOO 5, you're going to get a rather reasonable driving experience. The petrol will produce 140 PS power output, a 0-60 time of around about 10 seconds. As for the EV, helped by that 61 kilowatt hour battery, you're going to get a slightly quicker 0-60 time. Both of them powertrains will provide around 275 newton meters of torque, which is more than enough for your average day-to-day driving without getting bored that it's so leggy and so lethargic that pulling out of junctions is your worst nightmare. It has a bit of zip about it. Now, I'm currently driving the petrol variant, and when you're actually on A roads, when you're actually motoring at a successful speed, then it feels a bit quicker. So you kind of look at that 0-60 time in 10 seconds being like, that seems rather slow. It definitely don't feel like that. When 0-60 time comes in its actual cold start, it kind of takes a little bit to kick in that sense. It doesn't have a rather responsive set-off. The EV is definitely different because you're going to get that instant torque that EVs are known to provide. The petrol kind of takes a little bit. So it seems like you really have to coast it round and not put your foot to the floor, because put foot to the floor now and it massively just over revs. It doesn't have that nice transition climbing up the speeds. The EV will be different because electric vehicle is kind of just a big go-kart. It has a pedal, you press go and you're away. Petrol is a bit different, but now I'm motoring at 50 and I've kind of got to that in no time at all. When I then put my foot to the floor, it goes up quicker. It is almost that cold start that causes that 0-60 time to seem a little bit slow. But out on the road, pulling out of junctions, joining slip roads, it definitely has enough zip about it. Now, it might be because I'm driving an eco. If we go into normal, oh, actually, that's a bit better. I think it must just be the eco that tries to prevent you from over revving. Have a little test. Oh, that feels much better. What about sport?
Sport mode.
Even better. Oh, I stand corrected. That can be quite easily fixed, depends what driving mode you're in. Driving position is great. Yes, it's smaller than the 7, but I still feel in pretty much the same driving position. Its dimensions in terms of its height and its actual wheelbase aren't actually that much smaller than the 7. And certainly driving it, I've got a good view over the bonnet. I feel higher up than quite a lot of mid-size SUVs. So you kind of feel like you're looking down at people in this. Its actual driving experience does give off that premium edge because you're sat so high up on the road. But ultimately, it just feels easy. I said that it doesn't feel as luxury as the 7, and it definitely doesn't. And I feel like if you compare the interiors of the two, you'll definitely notice that. I still feel like this is an impeccably priced car, and I feel like that wasn't even proper English, but I'm almost excited to talk about this car because we haven't really seen this level of premium nature for such a cheap price before in the UK car market. And it's only really been reflected in the influx of Chinese brands coming to the UK, which some people might be wary of, which of course is something new. We're only human. But the more you start to explore these brands, and especially exploring JAECOO and their sister company OMODA, then you start to realise that they are actually brilliant cars. Yes, none of them really perform like a Nissan GT-R, and they certainly don't have that petrol head enthusiast nature about it. But in terms of the UK car market as a whole, what people want out the drive, they want a good car for as little as possible, with all the modern day quirks, and to almost feel like you're getting a bargain. And you certainly get all of that with the JAECOO 5. And the rear seats definitely wrap up this impeccably priced SUV. There's plenty of space, there's a good amount of storage, both in the door bins, a little section here and a pocket down in the centre. You do only have one USB-C, so if this was going to be a family car, kids in the back might squabble a little bit. But there is enough space for kids, there's nice fixed points on either side, so they'll be safe. There isn't really much going on back here. You have nice tinted windows in the back, but there's plenty of space, good amount of storage, there's practicality, and it's comfy. And you certainly won't feel small change, whether you're using this as your own personal car, as a family vehicle. I feel like this is a car for all. So then, there you have it, the JAECOO 5. I feel like this was almost destined to be a failure with how successful and how high regarded the JAECOO 7 was when it first arrived into the UK. But despite its older, bigger brother being very much the greatest value for money vehicle the UK might have ever seen in terms of its luxury nature, this has perfectly followed in its footsteps, giving a cheaper alternative, but still not lacking that premium and value for money edge. It houses tech that you'd normally pay an extra 10 grand for. It drives well out on the road and offers practicality in abundance. And if you want to find out more about the JAECOO 5 petrol or EV, then book your test drive today at Ron Brooks OMODA JAECOO.